Hi, everybody. Welcome to another hour of English classes here on verbling.com. My name is Lisa, and in this hour, we're going to be having a speaking class, and you guys are going to be practicing speaking in the past tense. So we're going to talk about the different ways that you can use the past tense first before we begin, and then we're going to be talking telling stories in the past tense, and I'm going to be helping you to make sure that you are using the correct verb tenses when you are talking. So it's a very important skill to have, because this is basically the tense that you use anytime you want to talk about something that happened before now. So if it happened earlier this morning or last night or 2 years ago, it doesn't really matter. You're going to be using this way of speaking. So it helps you have better language, and you move to a higher skill level that way when you can master this tense. If you have a reservation for this hour, of course, you can go ahead and use your reservation now. If you don't have a reservation, then just wait a couple of minutes, and then you will see the Join Class button. And when you see the Join Class button up there at the top, then you can join the class. Of course, you do have to be a verbling.com member to be able to join Verbling classes, but you can also buy some tickets to classes if you aren't sure how many classes you're going to be able to take. You can just purchase 10 at a time and see if you use them. Another thing you can do is try the free membership. So if you want to try the free trial membership, you can do that as well for 7 days, and then that way you can see whether or not you're going to be able to use the service and what types of classes you like to take and all of that. So if you want to do that, you can go ahead and do that any time. You just have to sign up for the free trial. We do use Google Hangouts here, so you do have to have a Gmail account, and then you'll be able to join us. Hey, Claudio, welcome.
Hey Lisa, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Think.
Good.
How is Coursera? How's your Coursera
My
course going?
Coursera class hasn't started yet. I think it starts in like 2 days or something like that. So I'm
You
looking
think?
forward. I think I haven't received an email yet. I mean, I have received several emails, but I wasn't paying attention to them very closely. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Have you ever taken a Coursera class?
No, but I want to. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, I've been working so hard this past this last year. So, but
Uh-huh.
I was talking to Chow
Yeah.
the other day, and
Great.
he seems so into it. So they struck me as interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I can give you the link to the one that I'm going to be taking. I think it's going to be interesting. I just read this lady's book, which was specifically about learning, how to learn math and science. So my 2 older sons are in high school right now, and so to help them in their math and science, but also just in terms of helping my own students and learning in general. So that's the course for that, or that's the link right there in the Verbling chat.
Mhm.
But I know Chow has taken several. In that video that I put on my wall, he showed all of his certificates of all the classes. So another place where I've taken some classes, hi, Amparo, I see you joined us. Welcome. We're just getting started here.
Hi, teacher. How are you?
Good. Have you ever taken a Coursera class, Amparo? Do
Have
you
you
know what?
taken what? No, no,
I'll
no.
share.
No
This
idea.
is a really good resource, especially for people who, these are college level courses, and they're free. basically. And so this is a course that I signed up for, which is going to start on the 3rd, which I guess is Friday. And it's sponsored by UC San Diego, so that's University of California, San Diego. And so the idea is you sign up, it's free. You can also pay if you want to get like some credit or a certificate or something. And then they give you the course outline, things that you're going to be learning. You're going to have videos to watch. There's some like little tasks you can do, quizzes to check your learning, things like that. So it works really well. And that's just one. There's lots of different courses, different topics, things like that. You can see there's different languages that courses are being offered in. Another one that I like, and I'll tell you guys real quick because both of you might be interested in. Another one of these is edX. Why isn't it going there? All right, let's see. edX.org is another place where they have these, they're called the MOOC, what is it called? Massive Online Classes, whatever. And you have different topics, and I think these are mostly all in English, but I think I signed up for one in French, and they come from schools like Harvard and Berkeley and Texas. I'm signed up for one that's like global economy right now, and things like that. And you can kind of just do them at your own pace. So they're pretty cool. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, really, really amazing. And so for somebody like Chow, who he's been taking advantage of these because, he's a pretty studious guy. and you can take them at your own pace. So like each week a lesson gets released, and then you have readings, videos to watch, maybe something to listen to or something, and then maybe something to do. And then it's really up to you to learn however much you want, kind of thing, So, yeah, it's cool. Yeah. Okay. Well, welcome, you guys. This is a class where we're going to be using the past tense, which I think for you two is not a problem. So sometimes some students have a hard time using the past tense. Usually, more beginning students and lower intermediate students tend to stay in the present when they're talking about things. And, as you get to a higher level, you can use different tenses of verbs. And so one of them, of course, that is used a lot when speaking is the past. And we have 4 different types, 4 different past tense forms. And the one we use the most, especially here in the U.S., is just the simple past. Yesterday I worked. Yesterday I talked to my friend. Yesterday I ate pizza for lunch. Something like that. That's simple. Another one very common is I was. I was working yesterday, and then you might describe something that happened or whatever. I think in England they use more I had worked and I had been, and we use it too, but especially in writing and when your story gets a little more complicated about what happened when, in the past. But these are the 2 most common ones. So what I was going to do for you guys today is we could just practice using those by having you guys tell some stories. So the idea was to tell a story using the past tense. And I don't mean you have to make up a story. This just means like a story about something you are familiar with, something that happened to you, something that maybe happened in your country, or just something that you already know about it. You don't have to create it from your imagination, although you could if you wanted to. And it's just to practice using the past tense in a correct way. So it can be about something that happened to you earlier today, yesterday, last week, or 10 years ago or more. And the only thing is that we just want to use the past tense. So, does that make sense? Pretty simple.
I still doing that mistake, mixing up
Really?
tenses when talking, and then afterwards I realized that I was like something like Tarzan or something.
Well,
The problem is
So that
when
this
you
is
are speaking with.
always happen.
what did you say, Amparo? It's who you're speaking with? What?
Yes, when I speaking, sometimes I made a mistake, but when I am writing, it's different because well, I have the more time to much time to look the words, and I know that it is wrong. But when am speaking, sometimes yes, I just use the wrong
The tense.
tense.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah, that's totally normal and natural, and that's part of what we call, the learning process or the development of language. So, some people. What's interesting and what I've been talking to some of my more advanced students lately is this idea that when you're learning anything really, but especially with language, you can see it. Sometimes in the beginning, you have a lot of growth. So you have you're learning vocabulary words, you're learning, how to say things. Usually you learn in the present to begin with, and there's a lot of growth in the very beginning. And then you kind of hit what we call a plateau. So a plateau is like a flat face, I guess, a flat position. And I'm going to use my hands so I can make sure you guys understand. So put it back me. Okay. Hi, Ken. Welcome.
Yes, hello.
Hi. So we're just starting, and I'm kind of talking a little bit about the idea of a past tense, and both Claudio and Amparo just mentioned that they do have trouble sometimes staying in the past tense. So maybe switching back and forth probably is what you guys do. You start off in the past tense, and then maybe you go back to the present or something when you're telling a story that happened to you in the past, for example. And so I was just talking about this idea that in language learning, we have a lot of growth in the beginning, and then we reach like a plateau where maybe it seems like we're not really improving very much. We kind of just keep saying the same thing over and over again, making the same mistakes, that kind of thing. And so once you're at like you guys are at a more advanced, higher level, there's a certain plateau that you can reach, but if you want to go beyond that, then it's like the fine-tuning. Just like in your own language, just by living and growing up in Japan, for example, you know Japanese, right? And you're good at Japanese, and you can say a lot of things in Japanese, but if you wanted to be able to go to even a higher level, especially like in a specific topic area, for example, like technology, or like Claudio with law or medicine or something like that, you would actually have to study. You would actually have to figure out where are my weak points and what do I have to do to improve. So it's actually another learning process that takes you beyond your current level. So, and so the idea that I want to help you guys start doing is going beyond that level where you are, so that you feel like when you're going to the verbling classes, instead of just kind of, hearing the same things and talking about the same things in the same way, you can push, we call it your edges. So your edges is like, here's all the things you've learned so far, and here's your edge. And beyond that, you don't know yet. So you want to keep pushing farther out so that your edges go farther out, so that you're learning more and more all the time. And learning doesn't necessarily mean like you're learning 100 new vocabulary words a week. It might be that you're finally realizing that, oh, I always make this same mistake, and now I'm going to work on that specific thing and pay attention to it, and then in a week or something you notice, okay, I don't make that mistake anymore. And you've mastered that particular construction or expression or whatever it is that you're trying to master, like prepositions, things like that, Okay, that's my little speech for you guys. So the idea is to give you practice to do this, because one thing is to realize what you do. Another thing is to try to fix it, but then ultimately it's like quizzing yourself. Have I really mastered that concept yet, or that construction, or that verb usage, or whatever it is that you're working on? So today I just want to work on this very narrowly, this idea of the past tense. And so we were saying, usually here in the United States, these are the two most common. When you're just, everyday language, talking about things, you use the past simple or what we call the past continuous. I don't necessarily think it's really important for people to remember the names of all these things, although some people are quite good at grammar. They like terms and things. What's more important is that you know how to make it and that you know how to use it. So whether or not you know that this is called the past continuous is not so important in real life as compared to whether or not you use it correctly. So that's really what I would like to focus on. All right, so in order to do that, you guys are going to be telling some stories in the past tense. Okay? Now, I want to just say to you, Ken, because you just joined us, you don't have to make up a story. It's kind of like yesterday when we were just talking about something in your life, and you were talking about that crazy lady. What was her name? Hatsune Miku.
Hatsune Miku, yes.
Hatsune Miku. Yeah. I asked another Japanese student of mine, but she's been living here in the United States for 17 years, so she didn't quite know about it. So it must be really popular in Japan, though. Okay. Anyways, it's like that. So, Claudia, why don't we go ahead and start with you? If somebody might join us, so if other people join us, that's fine too. So if anybody's watching and you want to join us, but if it just stays at 3 people, then that's kind of nice for a speaking class because then you get a lot more airplay, a lot more time to practice and say things. So Claudio, think of something you want to tell us that happened to you, or that happened to in your country, whatever it is that you want to say in the past, and we're going to help you. So maybe you guys, Amparo and Ken, can also be listening to see. We don't want to make you nervous, Claudio, but we are going to be paying attention to your verb tenses. So,
I am so nervous right now.
Are you really?
No.
Okay, good. Don't be nervous. We're your friends. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to talk to you about something that happened to me about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
I went to something in Spanish we call spiritual retreat.
Spiritual retreat?
Retreat. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
I'll just take notes here. So anything that you might say, I'll instead of on the VerbLink chat. Sometimes it's not working for people, and here this way people can see it. So, okay, go ahead. You went to a spiritual retreat. Okay.
Yeah, spiritual retreat with a group of friends. We are used to practice yoga and things like that. And in this spiritual retreat, we practiced some
Exactly.
Buddhist techniques for focusing your mind.
Okay.
In the city life and everyday business life and things like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, so something very interesting we do was to stay quiet the whole weekend. It was for a weekend. Okay. We couldn't say a word. We couldn't use our words to communicate between us. But we couldn't use our eyes or gestures. It was communication was completely forbidden.
Wow.
For us. And well, that's when the retreat begins.
Okay.
Because we had something like a mentor that was speaking to us the whole time.
Yeah.
This is not a cult or something like that. I know that this might sound like that. So this is not.
Okay.
It is a mentor, but it's like a friend. It's just a friend of us.
Like a teacher or something, maybe?
Yeah, a teacher. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Not a close.
Okay.
So,
He wasn't going to make you drink any Kool-Aid or anything.
yeah, no, neither commit suicide or something.
Exactly.
Well, the thing is, we weren't in the city. We weren't in the. We were at the nature, or in the outside of in the outskirts of the city.
Okay, we were on the outskirts.
Outskirts of yeah. And in this weekend, because we couldn't talk to each other, we had this moments when we just go to the nature.
Yeah. Outside in nature. Okay, you went into nature.
For a walk, for a stroll.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was like something like a meditation while walking.
Yeah. We have a walking meditation. That's a word.
Walking meditation. And you felt like connected with nature. It was a really special moment. And the food was also restricted.
Okay.
Because we didn't made our food. No, we didn't make. Yes,
yeah,
we didn't make.
Yeah.
Our own food. It was.
Okay. It was provided or something.
Yeah, provided for the teacher, the friends who was playing the part of the teacher.
Okay. Yeah.
So we didn't have to worry about the food.
Okay.
That was the idea.
Yeah.
Our only focus was, to be with the nature.
Right. Okay.
And
to be one with nature.
Yeah. I don't want to sound like too deep or something like contrite. Well, you can say that.
Okay. That's fine. To be one.
By the end of this weekend, or this weekend, it was, we finally could talk to each other. It was funny because we realized that most of the things that we say every day are not actually necessary. Yeah. So we didn't know what to actually say when we could, because there was it wasn't necessary. And it was a moment when it all had somehow made sense for us.
That's interesting, considering you're telling the story in an English class where I'm trying to get you to talk about something.
Yeah.
You realize there's nothing important to say. That's funny. That's not a good language learning retreat.
Sorry, students.
The idea is to be quiet. Yeah. Okay. So did you have any realizations or epiphanies other than the fact that maybe it's not so important to say things during the day? Like a lot of what we say is just, I don't know, what?
I had indeed, but
yeah.
I would like to keep it to keep them for myself.
Sure. I understand. Yeah.
It wasn't a proper epiphany, but well, you
maybe
realize
some realizations. Yeah.
Yeah, realizations. You could say.
Okay. Nice. Was that the first time that you had done that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And would you do it again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I have
What emotion?
Amparo?
He sounds like he's not convinced.
Not totally convinced. Not next weekend.
No, because
Not at all.
it's hard to, you know.
Yeah.
It's not easy to stay quiet for a whole weekend.
No, it's not. Yeah. Very
Not
difficult.
not for me being a lawyer.
Yeah. So, also today for this part, you guys, if Amparo or Ken, if you guys want to ask Claudio something, or you can, if you want to come into the conversation, so it's more like a conversation rather than just taking turns.
Did you feel something different after being quiet for 2 days?
Absolutely. You felt like mm, you lost you know 20 kilograms. You feel
You
lighter.
I felt like, yeah, you could say I felt lighter. Yeah.
I felt lighter.
Yeah. Huh? Like sometimes we say, after we say that, I felt lighter, we sometimes say like a weight had been lifted. And sometimes we say off my shoulders or something like that, but kind of just depends what.
Physically
You can
like
say have been lifted away.
Away, let me think. I felt lighter like a,
Physically,
yeah.
physically and mentally lighter.
Okay,
okay.
physically and mentally lighter.
Yeah. Well, I think
You could
this kind of thing should be taught in schools. The connection with nature and to have this kind of space, you know, to think and to meditate and to to forget uh, uh, all the daily life rush.
What did it feel like to connect nature? What exactly feel like? You know, kind of you melt into
You,
the nature, or
you can't explain it by
kind of
words.
feeling.
You have to do it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to live it.
You have to experience it yourself. Yeah, you can say it must be experienced rather than explained. You could say something like that. Yeah. Something that may be difficult to explain. Yeah, Ken?
Sometimes I feel when I was swimming in the ocean, my senses is more kind. How can I say? I maybe it stimulates more senses than usual situation. I'm in the water and wave, the sound of the wave.
Your senses are heightened?
Heightened, yeah.
Yes,
Heightened,
yeah. Okay, yeah.
Did you feel something like that?
Yes. Absolutely. But
Okay.
as you know, that there are some things that you can't just put it into words. It's like you know, trying to depict a cathedral by saying that it's a lot of bricks put together.
Yeah.
It's more like that. Not even a poet could do it properly. Although they
try.
they try.
They try. Yeah. Well, it's probably a very personal experience. Like every person has their unique experience of that time period, that moment, you know. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Thank you, Claudio. So yeah, the thing that I was doing, so I think most of the time you did fine. You were using the past tense. Now and then you switched, but maybe it only happened a couple of times. and it wasn't a big deal. But I was just pulling out some of the times when you were using the past tense, just so people can see, and we can see how this is working here. So, yeah, good job.
Thank you.
I wanted to tell you that I know a couple of people who have done similar things, and I was at a retreat, a Buddhist retreat, a long time ago with Thich Nhat Hanh in France, and
Wow.
we didn't have to be silent for the whole time, but it was mostly silent, and we did walking meditation and work meditation and eating in silence and all that type of stuff. So it's definitely a nice experience to have. And here there is even I forget which religion or what meditation practice it is, but it's a meditation practice with a 10-day silent retreat. So I have some friends who have successfully completed all 10 days, and one friend who I think he did about half, but he couldn't make the whole 10 days because that's pretty tough. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's definitely experience to live to have to try
Yeah.
new things.
Yeah. And no technology or anything. Yeah. That's hard nowadays.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing is that there's no an actual religion involved.
Yeah. Sure.
There's something beyond a particular religion. The technique might be Buddhist, but it doesn't demand you to follow any particular religion.
It's not about like a belief system or a worldview, or maybe, but not religious precepts or something like that. Maybe. Okay, I understand. It's a practice.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Amparo, why don't you tell us something using the past tense? And while you're talking, I'll pull out some things that you say also in the past and just make note of them.
Well, for today is September 30th.
30th.
4 years ago, we have a problem here in my country, a crisis that started when the police was against a law that's supposed to reduce some benefits that they had, and then start a meeting, and then when they decide not to protect the country and work that day, it was a chaos around the country. And it started a lot of riots in every city. It was a chaos. We didn't have the local news, just the news that the government showed. The president, it was supposed to go to speak with the authorities of the police, and in that reunion, he was attacked with gas.
Wow, that's dramatic.
Yes, and yes, so dramatic. And then so he was sent to the hospital, the police hospital.
Okay.
But then the situation changed, and the authorities of the government said that the president was kidnapped, and the situation just changed a lot. Everyone was running to their headed to the houses, because you cannot find a police around the country.
Wow.
So it was an opportunity for it was the opportunity for people to just to go to open the stores, to rob the things in the stores.
Wow.
Not just food. Not just food. People was looking for appliances or something like that. We didn't know too much because for example, Twitter, Facebook, all of them were down.
Oh.
The only signal that we received was the signal from the channel from the state. The part that they said, but people around the city that were heading to the houses, they said that people was crowded in poor neighborhood. It was really chaos because nobody can protect you. You can be robbed. Even when people they were a thief or something,
Yeah.
just they try to to take advantage of the situation, and they took they also took some appliances, for example, bottles of the soda or something like that.
Wow.
It
Chaos.
was yes, a chaos. Yeah. Everyone was scared because you don't know what could happen
Right.
because we didn't know too much when a channel tried to send a message or something. The authorities from the government said that the channel were trying to be a part of this attempt to remove the president from the charge. Unfortunately, like in this situation, when the army
Yeah.
tried to rescue the president from the hospital, it was a lot of shots, and yes, they killed about I think 10 people died that day.
Wow.
And it was very dramatic when we can see on television the moment that the guy was just shot, and he died in the middle of the street when the military tried to
Yeah.
rescue the president. Today, just 4 days, 4 years of that celebration, and this every year, the president said that finally we can win, and the democracy is still in our country, and he he wasn't removed of the charge that he was elected.
So, okay, so this is Rafael Correa,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he's the president. Is he still the president?
Yes, he is still the president. He is in charge since 7 years now.
Okay.
Because in the first period he just changed the constitution, so in
Okay.
that way he could be he was able to be reelected.
Okay. So how long will he be able to be reelected?
Well, 2 periods.
2. Okay.
So we have him, the same president until 2017.
Okay. Okay. So this I'm reading a little bit about it. What you're talking about, it shows on Wikipedia. As you're talking, I was looking at the 2010 Ecuador crisis, what they're calling it. So it was basically, here they say they referred to the events as an attempted coup d'etat. So the police was trying to take over the government. Is that how you understand it?
That is supposed to be, but I don't know. It's a really strange situation because people who were working at the hospital said that the version of the government it wasn't true. That the president never was kidnapped. Just he was just inside the hospital with all the attention. He was receiving more people from the government, and it was just a manipulation. But we don't know. We don't know the truth because when they prohibit the private channels to cover the history. So
Uh-huh.
you'll never know
Do
what
you
is the truth.
do you know why the police were doing what they were doing? Were they against
Well,
him
they,
or no?
no, at the beginning it was because they was reclaiming for some benefit that in the new law they said that they were reduce some
Uh,
benefits that they have.
yeah, okay. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
But the president said that it was just an excuse, that all behind the police attitude was a lot of enemies from the another parties, and
Party. Okay.
they tried to just remove the president, and it was the opportunity to do it. That is why there were some people that were under trial after this situation.
Hmm. So
Mhm.
what's the situation now, 4 years later, between the government, the president, and the police force? Do they work together
They are
or?
okay. Yes, they are working together. When they negotiate with also with the army and the navy, because for example, one of them is in charge of the oil, the other is in charge of the highways around the country. So in
Hmm.
that way, everyone is happy. So
Okay.
he is going to be sure in the power.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. So as it is right now in Ecuador, it's peaceful and the cops, the police are still protecting people and doing their job.
Yeah, just
Okay.
for what that day that it was a chaos. Yeah,
Okay. All right. So just that time it happened. Okay.
yeah.
Interesting. Wow. But nobody really knows exactly what happened or why.
No,
Okay.
no.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be a secret.
Somebody might write a book 20 years from
Yeah,
now.
yeah. But for example, there was a newspaper here that is against the government.
Uh-huh.
There was a man from this paper that wrote that the president was the responsible for this death.
Mm. Okay.
After that, the man was demanded, and now the man who ran away to the United States, he is not living here anymore, and the government was about to close this newspaper.
Oh, okay.
So because of that, just the man decide to go away, to
This,
go abroad. Yeah,
yeah.
and that is the event about that.
Mhm.
The president have a little trouble with this newspaper, and
Mm.
from time to time they receive some uh, fines
Yeah.
for something that they wrote
Okay.
against the government. Yeah.
So do you think that when it's time for elections that the president will step down and allow the elections to happen, or do you think he'll try to go for a longer time?
The second auction, I think.
The latter. Okay.
Yeah. At first, when he was elected, he said, I don't want to be on power for a long time. I think that is insane because we need to change.
Yeah.
And now he changed the speech, and he said
Uh,
there are bad politicians,
yeah.
so you should choose the best in
Mm.
between. I, yeah,
So
among
he's
them,
kind of
I am
like,
the best. Yes.
yeah, it's kind of like I am the best, I am the
Yes.
savior kind of thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Nobody can do the job that I can do. Yeah.
we
Okay.
are in danger.
Ah, okay. I see. Yes. Well, I just read this book. I'm going to tell you guys about it really quickly, and then Ken, you'll have your turn. It's an interesting book. It's by the lady that I'm taking that Coursera class from, Claudia. Uh, and I'll give you the website if you're interested. The website's not so great, but the book, if I'll show it to you on Amazon, it's interesting because she's dealing with this kind of idea that uh, it's called Evil Genes: Why Rome Fell, Hitler Rose, Enron Failed, and My Sister Stole My Mother's Boyfriend. So she's a scientist, and there's quite a bit of like neuroscience in it, but it's also the stories of, kind of like these people who have kind of psychopathic tendencies and, borderline personality, and how they get into power and why, and what they're doing. And so it's really interesting because when you look back, at least on history, and you think of people like Hitler, Stalin, Mao Zedong, people who were in power for a while, and they did these very crazy things, which caused a lot of harm for a lot of people. In their own lives, they were very crazy. Like they had these personalities. And when you talk about Ecuador and this guy, which I don't know much about him, but that's kind of the idea, when you narcissistic, you're the one, you want that attention, you think, you just have all these different ways of thinking, and it's still unclear, like, is this from nurture, by the way you grew up, or is it nature because of your genes and your brain chemistry and your brain structures, and what leads an individual person to have these kind of personalities that do these things. Not all these personalities get to be leaders, but a lot of them do. And then, of course, every day, pretty much on Verbling, we talk about corruption in the world, and especially in politics. So it's really an interesting thing. You might like that book, Claudio, since you kind of deal with people like that in as a lawyer kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Every day.
yes.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting read. Okay, Ken, what would you like to tell us about something that happened in the past?
Okay. Did I tell you about my UFO story?
No, I haven't
Okay.
heard the UFO story.
It happened more than 10 years ago,
Mm.
and at that time, I was go I commuted
Uh-huh.
to swimming school by
To what
bicycle.
school?
Swim
Oh,
school.
okay.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
swimming school by bicycle,
Mm-hmm.
and it took 20 minutes
Okay.
or so,
Mm-hmm.
and usually I came back from that swimming school at
Mm-hmm.
night,
Mm-hmm.
and one day on the way home to my home,
Mm-hmm.
it was a bit cloudy sky,
Mm-hmm.
mm, and I found small shiny dot on the sky, in the sky.
You saw a small shiny dot.
Yeah,
Oh.
yes. So I thought it was helicopter or airplane.
Yeah.
However, the movement of that small dot was very strange.
Mm.
Usually airplanes or helicopter flying object fly straight,
Yeah, they fly straight. Okay.
but that small dot moved at randomly.
Oh, kind of like just here, then like zigzaggy kind of thing or something.
Yeah,
Oh.
here and there, go back or go. Yeah, it was like exact image I pictured about UFO. I saw some films
Yeah.
or documentary on the TV, and I felt it was strange because flying objects should have uh, gone straight if it is a human made. It was human made.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought, wow, UFO exists in the world.
Ah,
So
uh-huh.
many people's story were true. Stories were true.
Yeah.
So was very excited about that. And I was thinking about UFO, and what I found, and I regretted a bit. I
Mm.
doubted other people's story watching UFO.
Oh,
Some
okay.
of them could be true
Yeah.
because I watched it.
Did
Mhm.
did you check to see if anybody else had seen the same thing?
No, actually,
Hmm.
because I forgot. I might have told that story
Hmm.
to my families, but I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
And because it's late at night, so at that time I didn't have internet access.
Mm.
I didn't have Skype.
Yeah.
I didn't find no anybody to talk with,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
or maybe I didn't want to talk with that because maybe nobody believed my story.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, and I slept, and I woke up
Yeah.
next morning,
Hmm.
and I at that time I was reading newspaper in the morning.
Yeah.
I subscribe newspaper,
Hmm.
and my family subscribe newspaper, and I
Hmm.
found a small news article. A UFO incident happened in my town. Many many people called police to confirm that. What is this? It's
Uh-huh.
a one small dot. It was a
Mhm.
one small dot.
So,
Hmm?
so in the paper you read
Hmm.
that people had called it because they had seen the same thing.
Yes.
Oh,
So I
okay.
was not only one. You know?
Oh.
Yeah.
And was there a response in the
Hmm.
newspaper? Like, sometimes the government will come
Hmm.
in and say things like, "Oh, well, we were just testing
Hmm.
something."
Yes. And news article said
Yeah.
it was a searchlight from a newly opened pachinko parlor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, kind of. Pachinko is a kind of gamble
Right.
uh, place.
Slot
So
machine thing. Yeah.
yeah, in order to promote maybe the location, they light up the sky, and that searchlight reflects into the cloudy sky. So it was really like looked like uh, exactly like a UFO image. So many people misunderstood about that as UFO.
So then what did you think after you read that?
Uh, I felt a bit appointed,
Yeah.
but I felt relief because I could confirm what was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But did that make you change your mind then back to doubting other people's UFO stories, or now do you think it's
Mhm.
still a possibility?
Maybe after that I began to think
Mm-hmm.
more story kind of similar thing happened to somebody.
Hmm.
Yeah, kind of because it was very real to me at that moment.
Yeah.
So maybe yeah, misunderstanding often happened
Mm.
to that phenomenon. I don't know
Yeah.
100% or how many percent, but in most cases, yeah, it seems like misunderstanding of something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder. Yeah, I don't personally know too much about UFOs and I've never seen one, but a lot of people really say they have and they're pretty convinced. I don't know
Mhm.
what Amparo or Claudio, have you guys ever seen any UFOs or known anybody who has?
No, I haven't seen.
I have seen one.
You have? Where?
Yeah. When I was little, it was like a line in the sky making funny movements
Uh-huh. Yeah.
that couldn't possibly be an airplane or a helicopter.
Uh-huh.
It has to. It
had to be.
had to be.
It had to be.
So I'm a believer.
You're a believer. It had to be a UFO. Yeah. Amparo, do you think UFOs exist?
I have my doubt.
Good answer. That's very diplomatic. I don't know. I
But
think
usually
yeah.
in Chile, there is a lot of people. There are a lot of people that say they have saw
They have seen, yeah.
they have seen the.
Uh-huh.
There
Yeah.
are a place, yeah, that usually people goes.
Like a certain location where people see it?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay.
I heard that.
We have a desert here in north of Chile.
Yeah.
People say that there's some military secret base under the desert, or something like the Sound 51 law.
Mm-hmm.
Sound 50 the
Yeah.
aliens.
The aliens, yeah. Well, we don't have much time left, but we can finish up, and I'll just say that that's true also here in the United States. They're, in the desert of, I don't know, I guess maybe Arizona or something, like in this what we call the southwest part of the United States. There's quite a bit of desert area in different states, and there are always people talking about that's where the UFOs land, and that's where the government and the military are doing special secret operations with aliens. So that's what a lot of people believe is happening here in the desert. I don't really think about it that much, so I don't think like, oh yeah, it's happening, but anything could happen. It could be possible. Anything is possible. So, but I haven't seen it with my own eyes, so that's all I can say. It's,
You need proofs.
I need some proof, yeah. But if I saw the proof, then I might say, well, see, I knew it. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, guys. Those are great stories, and good job with the past tense. Every person did a little bit, but for the most part, you guys are doing a good job. And you don't have to think about it too much because you don't want to have to be thinking while you're trying to talk, and just let it flow. But when you're reading is a good time to pay attention to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good time. So thanks, guys. Thanks for
Thank
sharing.
you, Lisa.
Okay,
Thank you very
take care.
much.
Bye.
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 Bye.